Welcome back to Chestnut Hill. Boston College has won 5 straight over Maine. We are moments away from the opening kickoff. The Eagles open up with Maine, then Howard, and then they host the Florida State Seminoles. The Eagles won the coin toss but deferred, so Maine will receive the kick from Alex Howell, Sequoia Malone, and Najee Good. Back for the Black Bears. And we are underway with the opener from Chestnut Hill. And it's a touchback as Malone goes back and gets it. As we mentioned, the quarterback controversy in Maine lasted right up until Thursday. The head coach selecting Dan Collins, the junior who played against Boston College a year ago.
And I think that the reason for that decision was Collins has much more experience. His challenge this year, Eamon, is the fact that Maine last year was one of the least productive offenses in the country. Last year, 6 times they were held to 12 points or less, which is very, very hard in today's college football. He's got to get this offense moving the ball down the field.
I went with controversy because I'm in a pro town. It was the quarterback decision, but Jack Cosgrove said choosing Collins over Belcher, the toughest decision he had to make in his 23 years as a head coach. So now out of the shotgun, Gabrini Gonsov, the two-way player in the backfield with Collins. BC showing blitz, and here it comes. Collins keeps it. Short completion. 4-yard pickup out to Micah Wright.
And Maine's offensively, they're a spread offense team like you see. They're going to spread the horizontal width of the field, try to take advantage of some one-on-one matchups, maybe get that vaunted defensive front for BC spread out a little bit and try to run that ball.
Now Gonsov in the backfield again. Again looking to throw. Good protection for now. The wide receiver fell down. No flag. Looking for Wright again. And now there is the late flag. So it took him a while to decide if there was a penalty or not. And there it is, defensive holding. So this will be an automatic first down for the Black Bears. But Rocky talked to Don Brown and the defensive coaches. Micah Wright was the guy they had their eye on.
Well, he really was. He's a guy, you know, they're wide receivers.
14, 10-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Our referee today, David Epperly, leading an ACC crew. Sorry about that, Rocky.
No, you're talking about the wide receivers. A lot of talent in that room. Again, kind of like BC, just not a ton of experience. But Micah Wright is arguably their most skilled wide receiver on the team, uses his body well, and runs a lot of great routes.
He had a touchdown against BC last year before getting hurt. And again, we have not seen Nigel Beckford yet, the sophomore out of Bridgeport, Connecticut, in the backfield. They stick with Gonsov. Might be a long day for number 2 and White. The rollout again. Complete. That's Jared Asamoah with the catch. Maine head coach Jack Cosgrove in his 23rd season at his alma mater. Some ties here to Boston College, although he's 100% Black Bear. His head coach at Maine was Jack Bicknell, who of course moved to BC, and he spent a couple of seasons as an assistant here at Boston College with Jack Bicknell. So always special for the head coach of Maine to come back to Chestnut Hill. He admitted the adrenaline would be pumping this afternoon here against the Eagles. 2nd and 6. Again, still no sign of Beckford. Trips to the right. They give it to Gonsov. Straight ahead, not a whole lot doing. It's going to be tough sledding against this front 7.
Well, Eamon, you took the words absolutely out of my mouth. They got 2 studs in that defensive tackle room right there for BC. Connor Wojak, number 90, Truman Goodapple. They're as good as they get, and that's not really a finesse position down in there. Okay, I think Maine is going to be much better off attacking the perimeter of the field like they did when they started this game.
Get used to that, Rocky. I take all the good stuff early. 3rd and 6, and you see there 28% in third down conversions. This is something they spent a lot of time working on in camp. Again, another rollout. Here comes pressure. They got a man wide open. This is Salmon. Inside the BC 40 down to the 35. He made a couple of big plays against them last year, and he delivers on 3rd down.
Excellent job. Collins rolls out to his left. It's a delay screen by the tight end. He kind of hides during that play action, then scoots back out across the face of the defense and hauls it in for a big gain for Maine to start here.
That was almost the exact same play that Don Brown described to us yesterday that they were able to hit on a year ago. Now twins to the left, right, bottom of your screen right. 1st and 10 from the BC 35. Wright in motion. Again, Collins with time, but he can't hook up. with the receiver, John Hardy. You a little surprised how much time he's been getting so far here against this front seven?
A little bit, but what you're seeing is he's getting the ball out of his hand quickly, and what he's doing more so is getting outside the pocket. He doesn't want to probably stay in there versus this defensive front by Boston College, so they're choosing to roll him out, give him a better view of the entire field, and keep him away from that rush.
So now same formation on 2nd and 10. Quarterback keeper gets outside, turns the corner, gets a first down and then some. So the misdirection with the reverse gave Collins enough space for a 16-yard pickup.
And then we're not going to get a replay, but he got an excellent block by his center, Bruce Johnson, first team All-CAA last year. Pulled on that play, sealed off the defensive tackle, and provided a little bit of room up the middle for Collins.
So now 1st and 10 right at the BC 20. Opening drive for the Black Bears. They made Boston College sweat for about a half a year ago. The Black Bears hoping to do that and more here today. Collins looking comfortable after getting hurt last year and winning the job on Thursday. Back to the ground game, and this time BC was ready for it. Kevin Kavalek leading the way.
Kavalek, he's one of those guys, tough, plays with an edge, just the kind of guy Steve Adazio likes. Does a good job just shedding that block, throwing him away, and coming off and making the tackle.
Loses a yard, 2nd and 11. Collins getting the signal from the sideline. 10 on the play clock. 5 on the play clock. They get it off. Here comes pressure, hit as he throws. Almost intercepted. It looked like Matt Milano and Steven Daniels bringing the pressure.
It was also Kevin Kavalek, the defensive end. He just walked the running back, Gonsalves, back into the lap of the quarterback with a bull rush. Excellent job just using the power. Obviously a high height and size advantage for Kavalek.
So 10th play of the drive coming up here, and it's 3rd and 11 for the Black Bears. Hardy and right to the right. Now Hardy in motion to join Osama on the left. Collins steps up again, hit as he throws, incomplete. And again, it was Kavalek from that defensive end possession getting to Collins, and that'll force a field goal.
And I'm telling you right now, Eamon, if they're going to block Kevin Kavalek with Gabriel Gonsalves this whole game, it's going to be a very, very long one. They got to slide an offensive lineman or a tight end onto him because of the size advantage. Kavalek is a mean guy out there. You don't want your running back blocking a player like that.
So that brings out Sean DeClue. His career long is a 42-yarder. This is 39. Looking to put Maine on the board and capitalize on this strong opening drive. John Hardy, the holder, Salmon, the snapper. Snap is good, hold is good, the kick is good. And the visitors from Orono get on the board on the opening drive. DeClue setting in and moving in on the all-time record for field goals made, is now 2 away from setting the all-time record at Maine. But more importantly here this afternoon, he helps the Black Bears break through on the scoreboard.
And Eamon, what I saw on that drive was exactly what I thought Maine should do coming into this. Stretch the field, use the whole horizontal width of it, and get lots of one-on-one matchups. And after you start dinking and dunking to the outside, you loosen that defense up a little bit. Then they're able to get a few runs up the middle. Nice drive for Maine to start the season.
So Maine goes 54 yards. .54-yard drive, 11 plays. They settle for the 39-yard field goal attempt, and DeClue out there to kick off. Miles Willis and Sherman Alston, big-time threats in the return game. Willis led the ACC a year ago in return yards. From the 5, this is Alston. Gets popped and dropped short of the 20. That's where Darius Wade and this Eagle offense will take over. And you know, around here they like to call this offensive line U. All the great players moving on to the NFL, but certainly a year of transition for Steve Adazio in the offensive line.
The good news for this offensive line is Steve Adazio's history is on the offensive line. He's been a lot more hands-on here this camp, but Harris Williams, the right guard, is the only guy with really any starting experience, so it's something they're going to have to continue to build on here as this game goes on.
What do they call 64 around here? Grandpa.
Grandpa.
He has so much experience.
Been around here a long time.
Hilliman in the backfield, twins to the right for Wade. And they give it to the sophomore out of New Jersey, and he has an alley. Across the 25. You mentioned the depth at running back position, but certainly Hilliman is the go-to guy.
He really is. When I watch him on tape all week, a great jump cut, and he has what all great running backs need, Eamon, is vision. There'll be a hole off to his right that he looks like he won't be able to see. He'll find it and hit that bad boy for some nice yardage.
He starts off his season with a 9-yard pickup. They go right back to him. Not much doing there. Trevor Bates leading the way for the Black Bears as we take a look at our impact players when BC has the ball.
Well, we just talked about John Hilliman, a sophomore. He had a great year as a freshman last year, team leading 13 touchdowns. And the guy that's going to have to stop him is Christoph Malumba Chimanga. That's a mouthful of the middle linebacker for the Maine Black Bears, but if you make as many plays as he does, you can have 3 names. Team leader in tackles the last 2 seasons.
95 tackles last year, first team All-CAA. 3rd and 1, they go to the eye. And I don't know if he got it right up the gut, but the Black Bears push him back, and it looks like the spot is short. Again, it's number 9, Trevor Bates. And 3, Sherrod Baltimore coming up from the cornerback position as well. So decision time here for Steve Adazio early.
Well, the offensive line didn't pass the first test. That is on 3rd and 1. You can't get 1 yard. That is absolutely inexcusable around here in Boston.
So that forces the punt, and Alex Howell. Justin Flores back to receive for the Black Bears. So Maine giving up plenty of size up front against the inexperienced BC offensive line, forces the punt. Line drive kick, Flores from the 28. Gets out to about the 31, good coverage by BC. John Johnson with the tackle, 44-yard punt, 3-yard return. But Collins and the Black Bears were able to move it on the opening drive. They're looking for 6 when we return to Chestnut Hill after this. It's the kind of day in Chestnut Hill that makes a born and bred Midwesterner like Rocky Boyman think about moving to New England, but Rocky, the Black Bears had no problem moving the ball.
It was a great drive. They really mixed it up. Again, as I said earlier, used a lot of the field, attacked the perimeter, mixed in some runs with it as well. And as I said, this is a very anemic offense last year. To start off this way with a nice drive, obviously now this drive, they want to try to finish it off with a touchdown instead of the field goal.
Last year, the Black Bears 12th in total offense in the CAA. Gained just 16 yards on the ground against BC last year, 15 on that drive alone. And now he hits right on the crossing pattern. But a good tackle in the open field by Justin Simmons to limit that to no gain. And you notice, Rocky, that pocket is collapsing a lot quicker on Collins than on the first couple of plays.
Well, it is. It's collapsing, but I'll tell you what, he's hanging in there pretty good. A lot lesser quarterbacks, when they feel that pressure coming right in their face like that, their first instinct is to tuck it and run. I'm pretty impressed with how he's standing in that pocket right now.
Now trips to the left. 2nd and 10. Hardy in motion. High snap. Play fake, looking to throw back again. And now he slips and falls. They weren't buying it this time. Mehdi Abdesmad with the sack.
Well, you said it, Eamon. Basically very similar to their big play on the first drive. They roll out to the quarterback's right, try to throw across the defense. A perfect throw. Would have gotten the ball there for a nice game, but he slips and falls. And Abdesmad picks up a sack.
BC faithful like seeing that. Mehdi banged up last couple of years with knee injuries.
Now, traditionally, Eamon, this is where BC's defense likes to get very, very creative with their looks and how they twist guys around. We'll see how they attack it here in 2015.
3rd and 16. Here comes pressure up the middle. They skip to the screen, and Gonsalve gets across the 30, but not back to the original line of scrimmage. Simmons in on the tackle, along with Abdesmad as well. So that drive didn't go as well for the Black Bears as the opening drive. Don Brown ready for everything they threw at him there. So DeClue doing double duty here this afternoon. Here comes pressure from BC, but they get the kick away. Alston back to the 25. Gets by the first man, spins out of bounds at about the 35. So the students are back on campus and looking for another big year. Wade and the offense back on the field. Going back after this. Jack Cosgrove addressing his defense there, but had to make a tough decision regarding his offense. Nigel Beckford, their leading rusher from a year ago, suspended for this ball game. They told us this week it's going to be a special year for Nigel Beckford, but not getting off to a great start as he violated a student conduct code and is not in uniform today here against BC. So they're redoing the punt. Must have been a penalty on Maine. So now Alston will let it drop. Now he's got to get away from it. So the re-kick actually benefits Maine. So now Jack Cosgrove sends his defense back out there looking for another stop after a 53-yard punt. Second drive of the ball game for Darius Wade.
Well, Maine started this game off very, very well. The challenge for them is how can they continue this kind of play in the third and fourth quarter. Obviously not quite as deep as Boston College is, but right now putting together some nice drives both offensively and defensively.
So it's Hilleman in the pistol with Wade. Now he moves up to his right. Back to Hilleman running left. Has an alley across the 25. Tripped up by Darius Hart.
It was a nice job, by the offensive line. They pulled both the guard and the tackle, got those big fellas out in front, and picked up some nice blocks, did Hillman. That's the kind of offensive line play, the cohesiveness that they want to see here.
Second and short, just like the opening drive. Back to Hilleman, back up the middle. This time he gets the first down.
And Eamon, you can tell that Steve Adazio, the most important thing to him is how this team runs the ball. That's what this entire program is based on. How many times did he say yesterday when we met with him? So he's right now establishing that. He wants to pound that run, have not yet attempted a pass, wants to get that line clicking in the run game.
That is not a good sign for Maine. Christoph Malumba-Shamanga down, slow to get up, unable to get up, being looked at by the trainers.
And this isn't good news because he had an Achilles injury last year, had a stress fracture in the spring. We talked to the coaches this week. He was 100% healthy, they said, but here we are, and not only 5 minutes into this game, down with an injury.
Rookie of the year in the conference. First team all-conference as a sophomore. Defensive coordinator Joe Harris-Simiak telling us this week we need him to play well, and that means obviously they need him on the field. So we'll step aside as they continue to attend to Malumba-Shamanga. Back after this. Back here at BC, play fake for Wade. Receiver wide open. And a first down. Bobby Wofford makes the grab out across the 45 to the 46, a 12-yard pickup.
The first pass of the starting career for Darius Wade. A nice job. I think that's important. Get him outside the pocket. Give him a nice view of the field.
Maine already going without their best running back. Now they could be without their best defensive player for the rest of this game.
And he walked off the field with literally no weight on his left leg. That does not look good here for Maine.
Now Marcus Outlow in the backfield. Play fake. Nope, they tried to reverse, and Maine was ready for it.
And you'll see Malumba-Shamanga in the middle of your screen, does a nice job attacking the gap, but it looks as he's attacking the line of scrimmage. He gets rolled up on the left guard, John Baker. Not sure exactly what he did, but the legs got tangled. He went down. He's now out of the game, man.
6-yard loss on the previous play. Michael Kozlakowski blowing that reverse up. So the Eagles are behind the chains as we approach 4.5 left in this ball game. Now Outlow in motion. Wade looking over the middle. Short completion. Nothing doing after the catch. John McCabe filling in for Malumbo Shimongo with the tackle. Complete to Bobby Swigert, who's a tremendous story here on opening day.
Nice high percentage pass there for Darius Wade. Back foot hits the ground, boom, the ball goes to Swigert. And that's what Tyler Murphy really struggled with last year, Eamon, BC's quarterback, was accuracy. Time and time again, you see guys wide open. He couldn't hit them consistently. That's hopefully what they want to be a different case for Darius Wade this year.
Swigert back on the field after 11 knee surgeries. 3rd and long for Wade. With time, hit as he throws and overshoots his man. And there's the flag, a hold on Najee Good. This will be a BC first down. Thad Smith selling the officials, and I don't think he had to.
Holding on the defense against an eligible receiver, 10-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Najee Good just looked like he got his legs kind of tangled up, and the left arm comes around the waist. And that's one they're going to call every time.
Now the give to Hillman. Looking to stretch it out and turn the corner, but Kozlakowski and Sherrod Baltimore come up to set the edge. A loss of 2.
This Maine defense, I mean, even without their leader, is attacking out there. You see the athleticism. You can tell how excited the coaches were this week, talking about the players they had on the field. Some inexperience at some positions, just like Boston College, but they got some playmakers out there. And Sherrod Baltimore is probably their biggest leader now that Malumbo Chimong is not on the field.
Senior out of Fort Washington, Maryland. 10 on the play clock as Wade continues to look over and check his wristband. 5 now. They're going to have a hard time getting this one off, and Steve Adazio notices that and takes a timeout.
And obviously that's a sophomore quarterback mistake right there to not get that play and get his line up the field and get that play off.
Well, we met with head coach Steve Adazio yesterday, and he admitted to being anxious. A new quarterback, new offensive line. He thought they had a good camp, but he really didn't know what he was going to see today.
And you could tell him, and the thing he had the most angst about was their identity. Obviously, he wants to run the ball, but in what way are they going to run it? 2 years ago, they were a power downhill running team. Last year, a little bit more of a spread option team. Still ran the ball, but right now he doesn't know exactly what these guys are. There's so many question marks with the offensive line, with the quarterback. He's so anxious to see what this team's going to develop into.
Longtime offensive line coach at Syracuse, Notre Dame, Florida. Head coaching career got started at Temple. Then he made the move back to New England, the Connecticut native. And you could tell how fired up he is to be here and where this program is going.
Well, I mean, he's a Northeast guy. He's comfortable up here. These are his kind of people up here. It's really a dream come true for him to be the head coach here at Boston College.
All right, so after the timeout, 2nd and 12. Wade, the quarterback run. Looked like a huge hole, but that closed quickly. Darius Green getting away to slow him down.
That was a designed run. He got a nice block by the left guard, John Baker, who's just a sophomore. He's one of those young guys Steve Adazio talked about. How's he going to develop? He's looked good in camp. Now the bullets are flying for real. So far, I think John Baker's done a pretty nice job blocking.
Austin Brown in on the tackle as well, setting up the 3rd and 8. Not exactly his strength a year ago for BC. Wade with time. Has a man wide open. It's Alston making the grab, and he goes out of bounds. The sophomore out of New York City moves the chains for BC. 11-yard pickup.
I'll tell you what, Eamon, sophomore quarterback, not a tall guy, inexperienced, but he stands tall in that pocket. The pocket's pressing back in his face. Doesn't shy away and delivers a nice, accurate pass.
moves the ball to the Black Bear 27, under 2 minutes to go in the first quarter. Tyler Rouse now in the backfield. They will go 4 deep at the running back position this afternoon. And they give it to Rouse up the middle. Tough sled against the Black Bears this afternoon up the gut. Patrick Ricard with the tackle. Cinemasolan Demurin as well.
A nice job also by the Will linebacker, Austin Brown, filling up there in that hole. Good job of vision. Those offensive guards are pulling. It's very important for linebackers to have good eye discipline. Austin Brown did a nice job there as well.
They stick with Rouse in the backfield. Wade is 3 for 3 on this drive, but they stick to the ground, and Rouse turns the corner. Tiptoes down to first down, it appears. Now they're going to mark him just short. But inside the red zone now on 3rd down, Randy Samuels pushed him out of bounds. 11-yard pickup. So it'll be 3rd and 1. This is these short yardage situations were a problem on the opening drive. They got stopped on 2nd and 1 and then 3rd and 1. They go to a monster backfield setup here. Hilliman dots the I, but Wade on the QB sneak. And that'll be a first down for BC at about the 15.
Now some nice push up front on that play. The center, Frank Taylor, nice job moving that one technique off the ball. In talking to Steve Adazio yesterday, Eamon, red zone, 3rd down, some of those critical situations are still where Darius Wade has a lot of development to do, but here we are now in the red zone. Adazio is looking very keenly on how his quarterback operates in these critical situations.
Twins to the left. Hilliman behind Wade in the pistol. They give it to Hilliman. He has a hole. Down to the 5. John Hilliman had a big afternoon against Maine last year, 98 yards on 21 carries. And now he has BC knocking on the door to start the second quarter. Maine broke through first, but the Eagles are looking to take the lead when we return to Chestnut Hill for the second quarter.
BC's going on their opening run, that's for sure. 2 double teams up front, left guard and center, right guard and right tackle, blowing guys off the ball. That's just how Steve Adazio lines it up. He's a gap blocking coach. That's what he wants. Move bodies off the line of scrimmage. And then a nice zone read there off the defensive end, Trevor Bates. A good decision by Darius Wade.
Right up the middle. Of course, Maine fans are saying that's right where Christoph Malumbo-Shimanga is supposed to be. But so far on this drive, 12 plays, 73 yards. A little bit of balance that Coach Steve Adazio was looking for. Wade with 33 yards passing on the drive. And Hilliman starting to take over. Now they come out the I formation. Wolford and Hilliman. Wolford and Hilliman. And it's Hilliman. Not much doing, right up the gut. Again, it's Patrick Ricard winning his one-on-one matchup with Harris Williams. So here we go again, 3rd and short for this rebuilt offensive line, or restructured offensive line.
And some of these guys, they've played at times. It's not like they're completely green, but it just hasn't been a ton of experience and certainly not much starting experience for this offensive line.
We go back to that 3-headed monster in the backfield. Tight end goes in motion. Wade keeps it himself. Second successful quarterback sneak for the sophomore out of Delaware. So that'll set up 1st and goal.
You watch Boston College all week and here so far in this game. You don't see this style of offense much, do you? This is the age of the spread, and let's chuck it around 90 times a game.
Your disdain for that comes through.
I love it. I do. I'll tell you what, maybe I'm an old school kind of guy, but I love lining up, hat on a hat. Let's move some bodies off the line of scrimmage instead of just trying to trick people and see if they get tired all game.
Well,
that's just me.
That's Steve Adazio's idea of football. He loves the huddle, the quarterback looking everyone in the eye. And now he comes out in the eye. Now going to throw. Now Wade's going to have to improvise. And he slips and goes down. So Darius Green with the penetration. Bates as well. The loss of 3.
And Trevor Bates, the defensive end, he's one of those hybrid guys. He'll play inside, he'll play outside. Just a nice job of keeping his feet up as Darius Wade's very elusive out there, but forces the tackle. Trevor Bates is arguably their best defensive player on the field right now that Malumba Chimanga is not out there. Bates, an all-CAA second-team selection last year. He was the team MVP. That dude can play.
So now it's second and goal from the 12. Another backwards play for the Eagles. Green again, the junior out of Medford, New York. Benjamin Davis in on the play as well.
And what you're seeing, Eamon, is this defensive line knows it can't just hold up man for man. So what they're doing is shooting those linebackers, bringing them to the line of scrimmage, shooting A-gaps and B-gaps, trying to get some penetration.
Now tricky situation for Steve Adazio. 3rd and 14. How much pressure do you want to put on your quarterback? Do you want to keep it conservative and live for the field goal, or are you going to throw it into the end zone?
I'll tell you what, it's week 1 here. You want to see what your quarterback's made of a little bit, right? You can't shy away from every one of these decisions this year. Week 1 here, beginning of this game, let's go for it. Give him a shot.
Looks like a passing formation, but they play it safe up the middle, and Maine was not buying. The short dump off to Alston. But McCabe with a tackle, so now BC is going to have to settle for the field goal, which, we go back to the Pinstripe Bowl, wasn't always money in the bank for the Eagles.
And again, I still like the decision right there. Put it in the hands of Wade. Let's not baby him. Let's not keep training wheels on him all the time.
But the way those are training wheels, right? I mean, they set up a nice conservative.
A little bit, but I think more conservative. They could have just ran the ball and maybe set up some better position for this field goal.
And it's a 31-yard field goal for Alex Howe. And the kick is good. We are all tied. So it wasn't the touchdown they were looking for. They went backwards after having 1st and goal. But BC gets its first points of the 2015 season, and we are tied. The first kick of the 2015 season for BC was good. The last kick of the 2014 season was not. Last year's Pinstripe Bowl at Yankee Stadium, John Hilliman had a huge day, including the 49-yard touchdown run. They went to overtime against the Nittany Lions. Tyler Murphy hooks up with David Dudek for the touchdown, but the extra point no good by Mike Knoll, and that opens the door for Penn State. Hackenberg to Kyle Carter, and then Sam Ficken wins it for the Nittany Lions. Penn State wins it 31-30. And talking to some of the players yesterday, safe to say they are not over that loss in the Bronx against Penn State. Now the kickoff. Malone out to the 30. But those tough losses, Rocky, helped set the theme for the offseason for Boston College.
Well, it really was. It wasn't just the Pinstripe Bowl that they lost in close fashion. They had a 4th quarter lead versus Colorado State, 4th quarter lead versus Clemson. They were tied with number 3 Florida State in the 3rd quarter, and they let those games slip away. That's why all across their locker room this summer was posters with the word finish on. We got to finish these games, finish drives out on offense, stop them on defense, get off the field. That's been, again, their mantra, their battle cry here coming into 2015.
They carried over almost drills. They had to finish drills. We'll get more on that in a while. But BC gets on the board, so now Collins and the Maine offense back out there. Again, if you're just joining us, going without the sophomore running back Nigel Beckford, who's been suspended 1 game. And now there's a flag to delay a game here by the Black Bears. So that'll back them up 5. Jack Cosgrove well out onto the field. Can't believe his veteran quarterback out of the kickoff return didn't get the playoff in time. That looked pretty much says it all.
The hand in the face is always the look of disgust for the coaches.
Great quarterback in his playing days. Started his coaching career at Maine as an assistant. Actually started as a high school coach. I got a chance to become an assistant under Jack Bicknell. 1st and 15. Collins on the rollout. Short dump off. Nicely executed play. The catch by Jordan Dunn, the veteran. Pushed out of bounds by Justin Simmons. 13-yard pickup.
Cameron Moore, the sophomore cornerback, got to do a better job of tackling. He should bring this guy open field. Nice little stiff arm there, but Cameron Moore, you always want your cornerbacks aiming to be able to tackle. Got to tackle in the flat, tackle out in space to have a great defense.
2nd and 1. They give it to Gontsov. And he heads upfield for the first down, moves the pile out near the 45. And again, Cabrini Gontsov could play both ways, but now he's pretty much exclusively a running back, picks up 6.
Yeah, without Beckford being out there and being disciplined and missing this game, they're going to have to rely on him because, again, all 4 of their main rushers from last year are gone. Isaiah Jones tore an ACL in the spring. Nigel Jones had a career end because of a bunch of concussions, and they had 2 guys that were just decided not come back to the program. That leaves a very thin running back room for Maine.
BC showing blitz. Here it comes. Play fake. They break through, and they get to Collins. Connor Wojak, the barroom brawler, breaks through for the sack. Loss is 7.
Dan Brown calls him the war daddy, the barroom brawler. Again, nothing pretty about the way this guy played, but very nimble for a big guy. How fun was it meeting with this guy yesterday? Loves the game of football, loves the hitting, the contact, and just a nice job of bringing the quarterback to the ground with one hand on that play.
Great football pedigree. His older brother, a standout at Maryland. His father played at Notre Dame, a member of the 1973 National Championship team for Ara Parseghian. Loss is 7. Collins steps up down the sideline, overshoots his man Dunn. Gabriel McClary with the coverage. That sets up 3rd and long.
Connor Wojak, back to him. That's one thing Dan Brown talked about yesterday in the meeting. He's done such a better job of working on his pass rush game. He's always been a guy that's thrown blocks and plugged that middle up so well. This year, worked on his quickness, made himself into a better player from a pass rush standpoint. We already saw it here early.
One of the reasons there's so many NFL GMs and scouts here today checking out this ball game, he has become a complete defensive lineman. 10 on the play clock for Collins and the Black Bears. Trips to the left. 5 on the play clock. They get it off. Quarterback run. Squirts through, flag on the play. Gets across midfield, but it looks like this one's coming back. Cameron Moore with the tackle, but 2 flags back in the Maine backfield. It's a face mask, it looks like. So BC, you would think,
personal
would push
foul
it back.
on the offense, number 65, face mask, 15-yard penalty, 3rd down.
So that goes against Jamil Demby, sophomore out of New Jersey.
Demby just got a hand on the face mask as the rush comes up there right up the middle, shooting from the left side. That's going to push Maine back even further.
It was Harold Landry that he was forced to grab. Coach Don Brown telling us yesterday, you can't cut Landry off. He is a bear to block in passing situations. So now 3rd and 32. Maine looking to throw. Collins with time for now. Escapes one man, but not the second. He goes down. So Maine moves backwards. Matt Milano comes up for the sack. A loss of 5. So the Eagles should get good field position after this punt.
And it brought some line stunts on that play, Eamon, but what happened on that, Matt Milano was basically playing a spy position. Hangs back, waits for the quarterback to go, and once he does, comes up and makes the tackle. Perfect play, the way to play that spy position.
Sean DeClue out to punt. Alston on the BC 45. Wobbler does not make it to midfield, so BC will take over in Maine territory. Let's see where they mark it. They might mark it right at the Black Bear 45. So another excellent opportunity for Wade and the BC offense when we return, thanks to the BC defense. That is the left ankle of all-conference first-team linebacker Christoph Malumba-Shamanga for Maine, and it looks like that is all for this afternoon for number 6 in white.
And that's tough. I talked about it earlier. He had some injuries dating all the way back to the end of last year. Had an Achilles injury, stress fracture in the spring, limited his mobility a lot. So was healthy, was raring to go, was so excited about this game. But like you said, there's no way he's coming back here today to help Maine out.
Jack Cosgrove's going to have to go deep into his depth chart at the linebacker position as BC starts this drive on the Maine 45. Didn't hurt him there on that play as John McCabe, broke through for the tackle before they made it back to the line of scrimmage. Maine winning the battle up front right now when BC has the ball.
They really are. They're doing a great job. Very impressed with them. The key is going to be, can they sustain this for 4 quarters? That's always the thing. A lot of these FCS teams, they'll play pretty tough in the first, second quarter, but get worn down. The key for them is to be able to rotate guys in and out and stay fresh and not get too tuckered out.
Certainly a big moment in this game right now with BC in good field position. And Hilliman turns the corner, gets inside the 40. Brought down by Jason Matovu. 8-yard pickup.
Nice job on the zone read there by Darius Reed. Makes the right decision to give that ball to Hillman to the outside. Nice speed. Picks up a few nice yards.
So now 3rd and 3 for the sophomore quarterback in the BC offense.
One thing I'm anxious to see is some sort of tempo package. Remember Adazio said we might see that, a little bit more hurry-up offense, something they're not used to doing. This would be a time of the area of the field where they might want to try that at some point.
Want to get the first down first. And they're not going to get it on 3rd down as Outlaw is stopped short. So again, this offensive line not blowing anybody off the ball in short yardage situations. So now another decision for Adazio. You're not exactly in field goal range right now. You want to develop an offensive line and force your will. It looks like obviously he's already made up his mind here and he's going for it.
I like the decision to go for it.
No, he hasn't made up his mind yet. He takes the timeout. I spoke too soon. So there's a break in the action. We'll take one as well. Steve Adazio has to make a decision and then has to come up with a play. We're back after this. BC going for it on 4th and 2. Rocky, you know Steve Adazio well. He was the offensive line coach at Notre Dame when you played there. What's going through his mind right now?
Well, he wasn't very happy. You know, these are the things he talked about yesterday with the inexperience and guys not being used to these critical situations. Wasn't sure if they didn't have the right personnel on the field the way he wanted or what it was. They're running back out going for it on 4th down here, though.
These are plays where you grow up. 4th and 2. They're looking to throw. And he gets it off to Wolford, who makes the grab and the first down. A 5-yard pickup. He asks the new starter to make the play, and Wade delivers.
Bobby Wolford has given hope to all fullbacks around the country that they are still alive. And here we go with a little tempo, of course. But a nice job of getting the ball to Wolford out in the flat, high percentage pass.
And that's coming back. They were not ready for tempo. BC jumped early there. Again, Steve Adazio mentioned this yesterday, the dilemma of sprinkling in a little tempo. What really are you? What are you really? What are you good at? Didn't look like they were prepared for tempo there.
Yeah, and that is the balance. How much do you do? You want to keep the other team off balance. You don't want to stay in the same looks, but when you do that, that's one more thing you're practicing during the week, and you're not getting good at gap schemes and zone reads and double team blocks, things like that. That's the thing that's weighing heavily on his mind.
Backs it up 5. Up the middle, there's an alley for Outlaw. And he gets inside the 30. Sophomore out of Norwich, Connecticut, who had a big afternoon against Maine a year ago with 107 yards and a touchdown catch, picks up 7 for number 7. And now here comes the tempo. They're sticking with it. 2nd and 8. Staying on the ground, and Outlaw, Maine ready for it this time, and he gets driven back.
And Eamon, here's the rub about high-tempo offenses. If you're gaining first downs, it's great. But when you're not gaining first downs, you're not gaining yards, your defense is back on the field quickly.
But the other thing here, you're seeing it right now, where you win it or not, you want to go fast. But now you got 3rd and 6, and you can't really go fast with an inexperienced quarterback on 3rd and 6.
And because they're not used to doing this, they're not used to doing a tempo on 1st, 2nd, and 3rd down. They kind of got to revert back to their normal ways now.
Time for Wade. He clutches, complete, and it looks like they get the first down on the extra effort. Benjamin Davis with the tackle.
And this was just a nice job by Darius Wade. He wanted John Hillman, the running back, out in the flat. It wasn't there. Pulls it back down and winds up hitting Walford. Nice play, nice decision there by Darius Wade.
Check that 26, David Dudek, the senior out of New Jersey. So that sets up, that gets him a first down just outside the red zone. Twins to the right. They give it to Rouse up the gut. Bounces off one tackler and then pushed ahead by A.J. Dawson. 4-yard pickup.
Same kind of style up the middle, starting to get some push by that offensive line. They're going to keep hammering away at this running game, Eamon. They're going to walk out of here. Steve Adazio wants to walk out of here knowing, hey, how much progress have we made at our bread and butter of this run game?
9th play of this drive coming up, and it looked like the center, Frank Taylor, had to come out with a sneaker issue. So John Baker now snapping the ball. It's a low snap. Wade, nope, was up the gut. Rouse trying to escape the tackle, but he can't get away from A.J. Dawson, so that sets up another 3rd down for Wade in this offense. So 3rd and 5. Mass substitution. Doesn't look like Hillman's out there, so what are you looking for, Rocky? So they stick with Outlaw in the running back position.
I'll tell you, Darius Wade's been perfect in terms of the pass game. Get him outside the pocket, get him a nice view of the field, and let the dual threat quarterback have the run throw option.
Looks like the Black Bears took a timeout. They weren't set. So a critical 3rd and 5 with 3:15 left to go in the first half when we return to Chestnut Hill. It's like a year ago, Maine and BC are tied in the second quarter. Last year, BC was able to pull away, but Rocky Boyman here, a critical 3rd and 5 with 3:15 left to go. What are you expecting from the Eagles offense?
Well, you obviously can't imagine they're going to run the ball right here. I still like with a dual threat quarterback, getting him outside, giving him the run pass option. He's been doing a great job in terms of throwing the ball. Not a ton downfield, but his accuracy has been pretty good.
Well, Rocky says they're not going to run it, and they have an empty backfield here.
I'll tell you a guy I'd like to see him get involved is number 6, Sherman Alston, 5'6", 160 pounds, a water bug out there, very explosive last year.
First receiver out to the right in the trip set. Wade looking that way for now. Here comes pressure. Throws it into the corner, and that's going to be out of bounds. He was looking for your man, Rocky, but the pressure forced him to throw an errant throw.
And it was an errant throw. He's trying to find Alston, but I thought he did a good job of hanging in the pocket right there. Didn't get too skittish. As a quarterback, you're going to take some shots to the chops sometimes. It's just part of the business.
So that forces another field goal attempt for Alex Howell. Last one was 31. This will be 36, it looks like. Bobby Swigert, the holder. And again, Maine, you have to assume a bit of a moral victory the last couple of drives, keeping them out of the end zone. Make it now a 35-yarder. Mix up here of the officials. They're saying delay a game, but it looked like there was 22 left on the play clock, so they didn't reset it. Jack Cosgrove wants an explanation. Seems a bit satisfied by what he heard. Or just defeated. Yep, defeated. Not satisfied at all. My bad.
Not at all.
So we'll try this again. Again, the holder, Bobby Swigert. High snap, get it down. And it's no good. So we remain tied here with 3:03 left to play. The kicking game certainly an issue a year ago for BC. And Jack Cosgrove pumped to see that one go wide.
And this was a problem last year, Eamon. They missed 8 of 43 extra points, or only 7 of 9 of field goals. And that's not a way to start off a season here. And you obviously want to get in the end zone, but if you can't, you need your kicker to be money, and he wasn't right there.
I mean, you say high snap, but they certainly got it down. Swigert had no problem with the grab.
Yeah, that wasn't the issue at all. He just kind of pulled it to his left.
So let's see how aggressive Maine is here with 3 minutes and 3 seconds left to go and 2 timeouts. Looking to set up the screen. He was in the tackles box, but he threw it at the feet of the receiver, the intended receiver, so there shouldn't be grounding. But BC starting to get to the quarterback, no doubt, looking for support Malone.
Nice job by their veteran safety, John Johns. He's another guy Dan Brown talks so much about. Comes up through the middle. That's what you're going to see. You're going to see pressure by safeties, by linebackers, by corners sometimes. Dan Brown very much an attacking style defensive coordinator.
So now Malone in the backfield again. Nigel Beckford suspended for this game. Now another rollout. Incomplete. Not much doing anyway if Michael Wright had caught that one. Gabriel McClary, good coverage.
Gabriel McClary doing a nice job playing today for the injured Isaac. You ate him.
You ate him. Now let's focus here on Maine. This is the game management, time management. 2:53, the clock. You haven't taken any time off clock here. 3rd and long. You throwing it, or are you looking to take some time off the clock?
I'm looking for a screen or a draw, something like that, to take some time off the clock and get a little bit better field position. Maybe pick up 5 for a better kick here.
BC just 1 timeout left, if and when they get the ball back. But they're going to throw. Steps up over the middle. Salmon drops it. Had his man open for a first down. But the normally sure-handed tight end out of Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania, couldn't bring that one in.
And the ball was on his back shoulder. Is it a ball he could have caught? Yes, but that ball has got to be hit him right in the chest right there. And they're close to picking up that first down. Thought Collins did a nice job hanging in there, found the open guy, but the ball was just a little bit behind him.
Also had some mustard on it. I mean, he had to throw it hard, but don't get me wrong, that one was cooking in there.
Well, Cosgrove told us this week he has some zing on those passes. We saw it right there.
So now BC once again should get excellent field position off the DeClue punt. A better punt, fair catch signal made by Alston at the BC 45. So with 1 timeout left and 2 minutes and 40 seconds left to go, BC takes over. And a reminder, college football on ABC presented by Wells Fargo, part of Dick's Sporting Goods. Kickoff week continues tonight. It's Wisconsin against Alabama. Number 20 against number 3, 8 Eastern. Quite an interesting way to start your Wisconsin coaching career if you're Paul Chryst going up against Nick Saban in that Alabama defense. Don't have Ron Dane or Melvin Gordon to hand the ball off to.
These guys are not coming back. You're right. What's even more frustrating for Paul Chryst is that Nick Saban refuses to name who the starting quarterback is. He said we may play 3 of them.
All right, so you want tempo, Rocky Boyman? Let's see how fast the Eagles go with 2:40 left to play. Wade off the play fake. Looking for it all here on one play. Knocked down. Tremendous coverage by Najee Good, the sophomore out of Philadelphia.
And Najee Good, the cornerback, could not have played that with any better technique. Caught up with the wide receiver, head was in phase, and then looks back to the quarterback. The right arm goes up and knocks it down.
Looking for Thad Smith, and that's textbook, like you said, Rocky.
So many times in these deep balls, those cornerbacks, they go to look back to the quarterback, and that's when the wide receiver gets away from him. Nice job by Good there.
2 backs, Outlow and Hillman. It's the draw, and it's Outlow across the 50. Into Maine territory with a first down. 11-yard pickup.
And I'll tell you what, John Hillman, the running back, is not just a ball carrier. He's a blocker. Hits the linebacker square in the chops, knocks him on his rear end, and springs that big run there.
So now with just 1 timeout left, the Eagles going quickly. Wade in the flat has Hillman. Look out! Looked like Baltimore read that all along. Hillman very lucky he did not get crushed. Stays in bounds, of course, so the clock keeps running.
Rob Baltimore sticks his right foot in the ground and shoots up like a rocket ship, just like an aggressive cornerback should be. Excellent job.
Going quickly over the middle. Throw behind the receiver and incomplete. Looking for Dudek. So now 3rd and 10. So stop me if I asked you this before, Rocky, but when you go fast, you don't take any time off the clock.
We've talked about it. That's exactly right. And again, that's just not something they're used to. That's not their MO. That's not their identity. I know Steve Adazio wants to work on some things and find that identity, but it's just not what he's established these last 2 years.
Do you go for the all 10 here, or do you set up maybe 4th and manageable in 4th down territory?
I like to set up 4th and manageable because in kind of that gray area anyway, pick up some yards and make a decision.
He's got Hillman wide open. No decision needed. A BC first down. Darius Hart pushes him out of bounds, but no one saw Hillman leaking out of the backfield.
Well, no one covered Hillman. They must have lost track of him. Somebody has him as a responsibility, a linebacker, a corner, somebody. He's left wide open in the flat, and that's a big breakdown by Maine's defense.
27-yard pickup. Now Rouse in the backfield. Alston in the slot to the left. Maine showing pressure. Rouse runs right into it, but able to get away from the first tackler for a short gain. Kozlakowski with the tackle, but now he comes off the field. Plenty of time on the play clock for Wade to get everyone set. Wade looking to throw now. It's a QB run. Can he get out? Dangerous. Did he cross the line of scrimmage? Doesn't look like it, but that was...
Now his entire body has to be across the line of scrimmage in order for that to be a foul. Did not look like it was. That's a dangerous play.
Sterling Sheffield came up and forced him to make what could have been a costly decision, but it looked like a designed quarterback run. Then at the last minute, he tries to throw it.
Yeah, and at some point as a quarterback, that's an experience thing. You got to know when a play's dead and there's nothing there. You got to take it instead of making a bad play even more disastrous like that one could have been.
So again, 3rd and long, and this time Coach Cosgrove wants to make sure they notice that the running back is an eligible receiver out of the backfield because he takes a timeout. So the chess match is on here on 3rd and 8. Jack Cosgrove, certainly familiar with Boston College. Does it always get you fired up to play an FBS team, and they open up with 2. They will play Tulane next. But now BC, this drive continues. Another big play by John Hillman.
Yeah, John Hillman's done a good job. He's really been the biggest bright spot of their entire offense. And we talked about him a lot before the game. Their best running back coming out of last year. Great vision, knows when to put his head down and pile on for some more yards when he has to. He's also caught some passes out of the backfield. Again, this offensive line I don't think has done as near as good a job as Steve Adazio wanted in this first half. But Hillman has done a pretty nice work today.
Sophomore out of St. Peter's Prep in Jersey City, where he played for Richie Hansen, originally committed to Rutgers and then changed his mind and headed north to New England. Now 3rd and 8. Shovel pass ahead. Hillman on cue, gets the first down and more, down inside the 10. That's why they call it execution, and the Eagles are on the move with 1 minute and 1 second to go in the half.
We talked about his running ability, talked about his passing ability. He can also catch the shovel pass. An excellent play call in that situation. Maine gets up the field too far. Hillman breaks a few tackles, sticks his head down, picks up an extra few yards. He's been a real playmaker today, just a sophomore.
19-yard pickup. He stays in the backfield with Wade, and they give it right back to him. Nothing doing on that play. Another tackle for a loss by Randy Samuels. And BC takes its final time out of the half. So now does that eliminate the running game here with 31 seconds left?
Tell you what, especially here in the red zone, this Maine defense is attacking, and they're not going to sit back there and just let BC run the ball and push them around up front. They're going to attack some gaps, bring some linebackers, and it's been very effective here.
What do you think of Randy Samuels? Again, you mentioned it, Maine winning the battle at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, he shoots a gap there. They run a little bit of a stunt, and it's right on cue in a perfect spot as Randy Samuels. We've seen him a few times today, even in the backfield. And it's amazing how good this Maine defense is doing without their big-time middle linebacker, Malumba Chimanga.
So now, Rocky, here they are, 31 seconds left, out of timeouts. Ball, on the 11. Have you taken away the running game by burning that last timeout?
I don't think you can run. I think from here you got a couple of chances here with the pass.
And you've already missed one field goal, albeit much farther out than this one would be. The 2 backs, Wolford and Outlow. Thad Smith, bottom of your screen to the right. Wade looking left on the rollout. Has a man open, low throw, catch made, touchdown, Eagles. Bobby Swigert, what a moment for the 6th-year senior out of Louisville, Ohio.
The question is, Eamon, did he catch that ball or did the ground cause him? The first look looks like he did scoop it up. Wade puts it in the perfect spot. He caught that ball.
11 knee surgery. It's been a long journey back into the field for number 10, but in his first game back in a couple of years, he makes a touchdown catch. Now on for the kick. And it's good. So BC finally able to take advantage of the good field position that they had repeatedly here in the second quarter. But look at Swigert. That is the emotion of college football.
And Swigert, you talked about it, hasn't played football since 2012, 11 knee surgeries, and again, Wade puts the ball in a perfect spot in the end zone, Eamon. You always want the ball to be low. If it's high, you know, sometimes it can get tipped up in the air, but perfect shot, and Swigert lays out. And these Boston College players are so happy for Swigert. I mean, talk about that. No one would fault that young man if he just turned it in and said, hey, I can't play football no more. 11 knee surgeries. But, I mean, it gives you chills to see a player like that. You see the Boston College players patting. They're so happy for Swigert.
Back in 2012, he was having a huge game against Notre Dame, a big-time touchdown catch. And then he said on a cut he's made 1,000 times during his career. He just felt it give out, and then it was a long road back. You know, nowadays we take it for granted. Oh, he'll be back. You know, we're so, modern medicine is so improved, and you know, you're just so used to no matter what the surgery is, people are able to come back and be as good as new. And it wasn't that case for Bobby Swigert, but he has his moment here.
And you make a great point, because you're right. So many people say, oh, well, you can just fix that. They're back in 7 months. Adrian Peterson was back in 7 months. How come everyone else can't do it this way? It's not the case. It's a hard road for these guys. But man, Bobby Swigert, all the adversity he's been through, comes up with a big-time catch.
So the squib kick and the short return takes it out to the 32. So Maine with a timeout left and 22 seconds left to play. You wonder if Jack Cosgrove gives Collins one shot, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, usually in this situation, you take the first play, and if you can pick up 15 or 20 yards, okay, you're going to try to keep this drive going and maybe try to get to the end zone. If the first play doesn't work out, you're going to want to try to take a knee here.
And they're going to take a knee. They're not going to give them one play. They're going to take their 7-point deficit and live with it. So very similar to last year. Maine hung around and then BC turned it on. What will we have here in the second half? The Black Bears had an effective opening drive to take a 3-0 lead, but BC has bottled up the offense since, and now on that late drive, Darius Wade and the Eagles passing game started to click. So after one half of play, Boston College leads Maine 10-3. Now we'll join ESPN goal line coverage of all the college football action from around the nation.
This offense, they got another half here to get it right.
And you take a look at the stats from the first half, and one rushing yard for Maine. Again, going without Nigel Beckford. That just jumps off the stat sheet.
Really, their first drive, Maine went 54 yards and a field goal. Their next 3 drives, minus 19 yards and no points. So they certainly have some things to work on offensively as well.
And of course, the Black Bears also shorthanded on the defensive side of the ball. Christoph Malumba Shamanga out for the ball game with a lower leg bone bruise. That happened early in the first half. So the first team all CAA linebacker out for this ball game with that lower leg bone bruise. And now, Rocky, you know, you talk about the start of the third quarter. This really is a chance for BC in that offensive line. You shove it down Maine's throat here. The Black Bears might be thinking, time to get on the bus. This is a critical opening drive here.
Well, I certainly think that Steve Adazio had some, let's call it words of wisdom for his offensive line there at halftime. We'll see if they make some adjustments, make some corrections. I imagine they're still going to work on that run game. Remember, this is their calling card. This is what Boston College does, is run the ball down your throat. Let's see if they can get it going here in the second half.
Clue with the kickoff. This will be Alston from the 3. Driven back, but still on his feet. Now looking to get to the outside. And he cannot get across the 20, but he certainly gained some positive yardage after it looked like BC could be backed up inside its 10. A 16-yard return, but I think he probably ran about 50 or 60 yards on that one before Gonsalves pushed him out of bounds. But now the second half for Darius Wade, how much more comfortable do you think he is now?
Well, let me tell you, that touchdown throw he had did immense things for his confidence. I look for him to really build upon that here in the second half. That's what these young quarterbacks, inexperienced guys need. They need some good things to happen to build on that. Let's see if he can do just that.
And the game management and leadership skills are still an unknown for the coaches, but they give it to Hillman running to the left. Does not turn a corner, pushed out of bounds by Randy Samuels. So outside of getting dressed down by Steve Adazio and the offensive line coaches, is it more adjustments, or is it just like you like to say hat on a hat and getting after the guys?
Remember, it's one thing to look good in preseason camp. You're going against each other, but now the bullets are for real. This is for real out there. It's a technique thing. It's a playing together kind of thing with those double teams they like up front, so I'm sure they went over some things.
Out of the eye. Here's the draw to Hillman, and the hole opens up. One man to beat for the first down, but Najee Good with a solid open field tackle makes it 3rd and short. BC was inefficient in the short yardage situations, but now Good cramping up, it looks like. Going to have to miss this play. And it is warm here. Certainly it's been a warm end to the summer in New England. Black Bears concerned about the weather today and also next week against Tulane. But right now, 3rd and 2. Wade rolling to his right. Finds Alston for the first down. Stiff arm Samuels out of bounds. That's 2 guys from New York City going up against each other. And Alston picks up 9.
And this is a scenario you have to think last year. This team lines up and pounds the ball in the middle for a first down. Today they go with a pass to the outside. No knock against it. I know you got to be diverse, but we really would like to see that offensive line pushing bodies around a little bit more than they have.
Rouse now in the backfield. Play fake to Rouse. Wade, another rollout, but Maine throws him down. Kozlakowski, 5th-year senior out of Long Island, Lynbrook, New York, makes the play, a loss of 6.
Kozlakowski did a real nice job shedding the block at the tight end, Louis Adazio, just threw him to the side and got to the quarterback. I'm telling you, I'm very impressed with this defensive front for Maine. Kozlakowski's done good. Trevor Bates, number 9, in on some plays. Randy Samuels causing some chaos up there.
Kozlakowski, the 2nd most famous defensive lineman to come out of Lynbrook High School in New York, right behind our sideline reporter colleague Quint Kesenick. Now over the middle, complete. Still on his feet is Thad Smith, out near the first down, just shy of the first down. A.J. Dawson.
That's a nice job on those slants, Sam. That ball has got to come out right now. Back foot hits, boom, hit the slant when the window's open, and Wade does just that. Excellent job. Not a super high yardage play, but a nice efficient play to pick up the first.
Does indeed get the first down on the 16-yard pickup. And the drive moves on. Hillman now in the backfield out of the pistol. Here's Hillman. Gets away from one man. Spins forward, but can't escape the second tackler. Number 30, Austin Brown, brings him down. Right at midfield to pick up a 4. Hillman, a Doak Walker watch list running back. Ended his season with a bang, albeit a loss against Penn State. We saw that 49-yard touchdown run as part of a 148-yard day. Now he's replaced by Outlaw. Roll out for Wade. Man in his face. Throws high. He got popped. Again, Randy Samuels breaking through.
Randy Samuels has been in the backfield of Boston College most of the day. Accelerates on Wade as he's rolling out and gets stuck right in the chest as he delivers this ball high.
So 3rd and 6. BC offense improved in these situations in the second quarter. They were 7-11 on 3rd down in this game. Pocket collapses and he's off the mark looking for Dudek. Had to rush that one as he felt the heat coming. BC does not get points on the opening drive, so Maine continues to hang around. And that's a huge stop for the Black Bears, you would think.
It really is. Boston College really wanted to get some momentum coming out of halftime there. Went over some things and made some adjustments, but Maine responded. Still knowing they're very much in this ball game, they're going to take the ball back with some decent field position.
Flores standing on the 11. Good high kick. Flores with the fair catch signal inside the 10, which is where Maine will start its first drive of the second half. As we mentioned, Jack Cosgrove knows his way around Chestnut Hill and Cleveland Circle. We'll elaborate on that when we return to Alumni Stadium. The Black Bears down by 7. Back here at Chestnut Hill, a good look at Jack Cosgrove, the longtime Maine head coach at his alma mater, but he did spend some time as an assistant coach here at BC. He played for Jack Bicknell at Maine, was an assistant for Jack Bicknell at Maine. But then in 1985, he moved to BC with Jack Bicknell, and there he is in the team picture. And we were talking to him this week. That's a year after Doug Flutie. BC was on a roll, and all he talked about was the Hall of Fame bowl against Georgia. Kelvin Martin with the game-winning touchdown. But he said he always gets a thrill coming back here to take on BC. Now he'd rather have the thrill of pulling off the upset as they run it up the middle for a short gain for Gonçalves. Talking to Coach Cosgrove this week, he says they're in that cycle. They have a good year, then they have a bad year. They got to, they lose a lot of players. They're trying to get out of that cycle, and they think this year they have that depth and experience that they could be a factor in the CAA. 2nd and 8. Dump it off to Salmon. Cannot get away from the tackler. Justin Simmons bringing him down. We haven't mentioned the name Stephen Daniels a lot, the middle linebacker who BC's expecting a big year from. And have they not enforced their will? Are they trying to be vanilla here in the opening game?
No, you see Stephen Daniels go. He made a play a couple plays ago. He's a guy that, he struggled with his weight at times, and things like that. But the light has really clicked for him this year. Got his weight down. He knows how important it is. Knows the NFL may be on the horizon for him. But he's a good player.
3rd and 4, pressure coming. Complete for a first down to Micah Wright. Collins stuck it in there between the 8 and the 1. Just the second 3rd down conversion in the afternoon for the Black Bears. 11-yard pickup.
Just a nice job by Dan Collins, just sticking that ball. And we talked about his arm strength. He threads that bad boy right between 2 BC defenders.
That moves it out to the 25. Daniels showing pressure. Here he comes up the middle. Play fake. High throw. Looking for Jared Asuma. Good coverage by Cameron Moore. So again, Maine was looking for improvement on the offensive side of the ball this year. Not so far today. Things were crisp on the opening drive before sputtering and settling for a field goal. And since then, advantage BC defense.
You see how strong this Boston College defense is. Their front 7, especially the safeties. Simmons and Johnson playing well today.
Again, going without Nigel Beckford, the running back sophomore out of Bridgeport, Connecticut. 3 on the play clock. They don't get it off. They do get it off. Gonçalves able to head upfield for a short gain. 2-yard pickup. Rockies man Stephen Daniels with the tackle.
From my high school, Cincinnati St. Xavier. Watched this kid in high school do many plays just like this, blitzing off the edge. He has a real knack for body control once he gets back there, when the quarterback's giving it, when he's handing it off, and a nice play by Dan with a strong tackle bringing him down.
More impressive plug for the alma mater by one Rocky Neumann. But right now, 3rd and 8. Converted their last 3rd down on this drive, the completion to Wright. Collins forced to step up, short throw, incomplete. Looking for Jordan Dunn.
My guy, Stephen Daniels again. And when you watch the replay on this one, He gets up in the line of scrimmage, makes it look like he's going to come. He then backs out and then uses the vision, sees the wide receiver cross and lays the big hit. Steven Daniels making his presence known out here. Had a great season last year. Great blitzer, as I talked about. It's covering much better. That's been the one weak part of his game, if I had to say. His coverage. Did a nice job on that play, seeing the receiver and getting the ball out.
Another low kick from DeClue. Alston lets it drop, and it takes a Maine bounce. And they mark it out at the BC 23. So BC looking to pull away here for Maine this afternoon. A 54-yard punt, no return. Daniels with an impressive drive on defense in coverage, forcing the punt. Welcome back to BC. Good look at Steven Daniels, who just made a couple of nice plays on defense, and certainly Boston College knows its way to St. X and Cincinnati. You go back to the Tom O'Brien days, they know how to recruit Ohio.
Well, you're right, Steven Daniels not the only linebacker to come out of Cincinnati St. Xavier. There's also a guy named Luke Kuechly. I don't know what ever happened to that guy, but he had a pretty good thing going.
Outlaw tries to bounce away, but he cannot. What were you saying there, Rocky? Continue, please.
Yeah, Luke Kuechly. You know, he had a great career at Boston College, but we haven't heard much from this guy, right? I am, of course, kidding. Defensive Rookie of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year last year. Guys all over the field. In my opinion, the best linebacker in the National Football League. He started his career again at Cincinnati St. Xavier, then a great career here at Boston College before he moved on.
Is this your official announcement, running for mayor of Cincinnati or trustee at St. X?
That's coming later.
All right, 2nd and 9. Wade keeps it himself. Gets away from 2 tacklers, able to swerve forward and make a couple of yards out of it, setting up 3rd and manageable. And these are the situations after the 6-yard gain where Wade and this offensive line have been a little bit better.
A little bit
better.
And third quarter. But you'd like these 3rd downs to be more like 3rd and 1. Those things you can, those situations where you can pick up that yardage with the run. And looking a little bit better, seem to maybe work some things out.
I have to get used to an actual huddle after calling so many spread and no huddle teams.
Yeah.
10 on the play clock. Alston in motion. Rolling to the left. Nobody open yet. Looking for Dudek, and good coverage by Darius Hart. Nothing Wade could do on that one. So Jack Cosgrove fired up as his defense forces another punt. And the Black Bears are hanging around again. Steve Adazio told us, how do you lose games like this? You give up big plays and you don't protect the ball. You hang around, that one big play, Maine could completely turn this game around.
Well, that's the thing. With the schools that you're supposed to come in and dominate, you want to put them away early. You give teams like this an opportunity to let them hang around, to your point. That's when they can feel the blood in the water a little bit. And right now, Maine's playing some great football.
Short but high kick. Flores comes up to make the fair catch signal. Maine with some decent field position now at the 37. Maine hanging around, but the offense needs to get going. Down by a touchdown when we return. Welcome back to Chestnut Hill, and college football on ESPN presented by Capital One continues. Monday night, Labor Day night. It's going to be tough getting up for school and work after you stay up late for this one. Number 1 Ohio State invades Blacksburg and Virginia Tech to go up against Frank Beamer's Hokies. Monday night, 8 Eastern on ESPN. And the Buckeyes are loaded. You talk about them being on a winning streak, but Rocky, Steve Adazio knows that matchup very well, and even he's fired up to watch that ball game.
Absolutely. Ohio State with the unenviable task of being on top of the mountain now, and everyone's scratching and clawing to get up and knock them off.
Best starting field position for Maine this afternoon, its own 38. Sequoia Malone in the backfield. And he gets it. And he cannot turn the corner. Mehdi Abdesmat, another BC player returning from some serious injury issues, has had a ball game. And he set the edge there.
Yeah, they tried the stretch play, and that's not going to work when you have an athletic defensive end like Mehdi on the outside. You mentioned it, Eamon. 2013 torn patella. 2014 had another injury on his knee. The coaches talked about yesterday, he's now finally healthy, and they're in spring ball. They're saying, who is this guy? We never saw quite the athleticism, but now he's healthy. He's a force out there on the outside.
So much for the good field position. Loss of 4 makes it 2nd and 14. Collins, pocket collapses, fires a dart over the middle, incomplete. It looked like Dunn had his hands on it, but stripped away by Cameron Moore.
I'm pretty impressed, Damon, with the defensive back play by Boston College. Knocking some of these balls away, not giving much room for Dan Collins to complete any passes.
This would be a tough drive for Maine and Jack Cosgrove to go 3 and out on after getting a good field position. Facing a 3rd and 15. Just 2 of 7 on 3rd down conversions.
Boston College lined up to bring pressure. We'll see if they bring it or pull some of those guys out.
Short pass caught. No, incomplete. Dropped at the last minute. Wouldn't have gained much anyway, so the Black Bears are forced to punt.
Nice job. They want to pulling some of the linebackers out. And what you'll see there to break up the pass, again, there's the linebacker. Nice job, nice awareness, reads the quarterback, pops that ball out.
Connor Strahan in on the play as well, along with Moore. Forces another punt by DeClue.
Let's go.
Alston at the 32. Another wobbler, but a decent kick. Alston makes the first guy miss. Looking to get to the wall. There's a flag. Block in the back. This one's coming back as Alston bounces off a couple of tacklers, but the block in the back was pretty easy to see up here at the wall. And the flag is down, so this one will come back. Steve Adazio getting a clarification on the call.
Let's go. Get after him.
Our referee today, David Epperly, makes the call. So after being in Maine territory, after the return, they'll back it up pretty much to where he caught it. So BC will take over on its own 33 with 5:53 left to play in the 3rd.
And that's a shame. Sherman Alston, we mentioned his name earlier. 50 all-purpose yards a game last year.
So you mentioned in the first 2 years, Steve Adazio and the Eagles have overachieved. The pundits predicting in the ACC preseason poll don't expect a big year here in Chestnut Hill either. They're picked to finish 5th in the Atlantic. Wade keeps it himself up the middle and gets driven to the ground. Rocky. Georgia Tech certainly made everyone who thought they were going to win the Coastal look smart in the opener against Alcorn State.
They really did. They were actually my pick to win the ACC this year. But you look at Boston College, they've overachieved under Steve Adazio his 2 years he's been here. 2013, they were picked to finish last. They wound up finishing tied for 4th. Last year, were picked 6th preseason, finished 4th. So they're hoping that trend continues. Everyone doubting them. They come out and put some good football out there. Maybe this is the year they get over the hump.
Clemson rolling today, but Pittsburgh in another tussle with Youngstown State, only lead by a touchdown. That was an incomplete shovel pass. Certainly many people here thought it was a fumble, but the shovel pass is just an incomplete pass. They ran that effectively to Hillman, but not there this time to Rouse. So that'll set up another 3rd down opportunity for this offense, 3rd and 5.
And you got to remember about Steve Adazio. He's won in the middle of a rebuild. He came into this program. It was certainly way on the downslide. Comes back, he's rebuilding this thing, and again has overachieved. He's looking to again kind of make that jump here. The talent level is there, the athleticism, his recruiting is done well.
Well, he's more worried right now about picking up 5 yards. He wants to see this offense get into a rhythm. Wade Bates just driving back the blocker. What an impressive job by Trevor Bates, number 9 in white, driving his blocker all the way back into Wade, so that Wade had to throw a high pass over Dudek. 2nd straight 3 and out for BC, and you're not going to develop an offensive line.
And Trevor Bates just walks Jim Cashman right back into the lap. That's one that's not going to look good on film tomorrow. One of those ones he's going to the sideline dreading, because great play. Trevor Bates used some nice leverage, 6'2", really good knee bend, got underneath. The 6'7" Cashman pushed him back into the lap of the quarterback.
Flores makes the fair catch. So Maine, again, it's the defense giving the offense an opportunity here. You know, you talk about BC third-year developmental program, but they're not putting Maine away right here. This time last year, this game was already over.
Well, you're absolutely right. And again, we talked earlier about you want to knock a team like this out. You keep giving them hope, and they're going to thrive on it. Maine's defense last year, they ranked second in the Colonial. So this has always been a strength, and it certainly is this year. We've seen here through 3/4 of football.
It's the offense that struggled last year, and it doesn't help today, trying to start a new year without your best running back, Nigel Beckford. If you're just joining us, he's been suspended 1 game, so they give it to Gonsov. Skips by 1 tackler. Nice run by number 2. Gets out just short of the 35. Brought down by Kevin Kavalek, an 8-yard pickup.
I'll tell you what, Gonsov did a nice job of a little shake-bake right here, and Stephen Daniels absolutely whiffs. Good job by the running back.
Pointing that out might cost you that free T-shirt
That's right.
you were looking for, Rocky.
I'm second on the trustee of St. Xavier list now.
2nd and 2 now for Collins and the Black Bears. Tight formation to the right, now Wright in motion. The rollout, looking for Wright, complete for a first down. Driven out of bounds by Moore. But the Black Bears get the first down that they've been looking for a while. Now Maine looking to go quickly. Out to the 41. 3 receivers to the left in a tight set. Now motion from Hardy. Collins with the play fake. BC not buying. Matt Milano, the junior out of Orlando, Florida, did not go for the fake, and he comes up with a huge loss, a loss of 9.
Another great play. We talked about Stephen Daniels at the linebacker position. Matt Milano did a nice game as well. One of the hardest things to do in football is tackle guys in open space without getting juked out. Nice job attacking there by Milano, getting the quarterback to the ground.
So good job not biting on the fake and keeping contained.
Yep, exactly.
And that sets up a 2nd and 19. So just when the Black Bears get a first down, they move backwards. Milano breaking through again, forcing the pass quick. And no shot for Asuma. So Collins has really had no time to set his feet since that opening drive.
And here's our man Stephen Daniels again with the pressure, getting right up into the grill of Dan Collins. He tried to get outside the pocket, but see the closing speed by Stephen Daniels didn't allow him to get there.
Collins started 6 of 9 since 3 of 15. That Notre Dame math to get up to 9 for 21. Now right in motion on once again 3rd and long for the Black Bears. Over the middle. Cannot make the one-handed grab. So it'll be another punt. John Johnson with the coverage. Looking for Sean Reese, the tight end.
And I'll tell you, John Johnson there as a safety, he's a junior, he knows better. He's got to step in front of that, attack that ball. He maybe comes up with an interception. Instead, he kind of waits back a little bit, waits for the wide receiver to get in front. I thought Johnson may have had an opportunity to close on that ball and pick it off.
Been a very busy afternoon for Sean DeClue. Out there for another punt. Alston back for another return.
All day we're chasing greatness, guys. Let's go.
Good. DeClue's best punt of the afternoon. Draws Alston all the way back. And he picks it up. Dangerous play. Alston gets away from the first. Wow, that was a dangerous play that Alston will live to tell about as he gets out to the 10, but that could have been a disaster after the 62-yard punt by Sean DeClue.
Yeah, that's one of those plays where the special teams coach just holds his breath. You never want to see a guy pick up the ball in that situation, tips it. Maine had 2 defenders down there. They could have maybe ended up with that football.
Gets away from the first guy.
You got to watch, just eking into that end zone like he almost did. He has a lot of confidence, his ability to break tackles, but he got a gang tackle by Maine there.
Austin Brown and A.J. Dawson on the tackle, so now BC with a long road ahead here trying to salt this one away. They start with Hillman up the middle for a short gain.
You guys are both double. You two guys are helping.
4-yard pickup. You have to wonder about the stamina of this Maine defense. It's been out there for a long time here in the second half and that second quarter. Not winning the size battle at all.
They're not very deep. That's the issue.
Right back to Hillman out of the eye. No problem with the stamina yet.
Say, as soon as we say that, they keep coming up with big plays. Again, the penetration. That's when Adazio and this team watches this tape tomorrow. That's what they're going to see. That is the kryptonite to offensive linemen in offensive line strong running games. Is penetration by the defensive front. Cannot have it.
So here we go again. 3rd and 4 for number 4. You letting them throw it here, Rocky, inside your own 20?
No, I'm handing this ball off.
So much for Rocky's career as an offensive coordinator, because he's got a wide open fullback out of the backfield, Bobby Wolford. Again, they've executed that play properly a few times.
They really have. It's a high percentage play, and what they do, they put a lot of big bodies on the field, get everything real condensed, and the play starts, everybody bursts out. It's creating a lot of space for a wide receiver, a fullback like Wofford to pick up a nice game. Nice execution.
14-yard pickup. Clock continues to run. Final minute here in the 3rd quarter. They stay in the eye. This is Rouse. Out to the 35. Marks Outlow, excuse me, with the run.
I'll tell you what I'm noticing, Eamon, is the offensive linemen for Boston College are doing a nice job with their initial block, but they're not finishing. They're not continuing to drive their feet. They're slipping off or allowing Maine's defenders to slip off and get back into the play. That's what's becoming apparent here as we get into the 4th quarter.
Now they give it to Smith on the end around, the jet sweep. He gets by Bates, gets the first down. Nice pickup by the wide receiver. Bates finally able to track him down.
Nice job, a little juke right there. It took Bates. He had a nice closing on that, but a little juke there allows him to get to the outside. Nice play.
That should do it for the 3rd quarter. Final play of the 3rd quarter. Gives BC a new first down at the Boston College 44. So the starters hanging around a little bit longer probably than the fans expected. BC looking to get closer to that knockout punch when we return. Fourth quarter underway. They try the end around with Thad Smith, who gets by one tackler and gets out around the corner and gets the first down in Maine territory. Thad Smith able to turn on the Jets on the end around, and Maine had him bottled up though behind the line of scrimmage.
Well, speaking of Jets, the jet sweep is not a play we've seen today. They ran it to much effectiveness last year. Thad Smith, coach was talking about, he had the best camp of any of these wide receivers. Did a nice job showing the speed, showing the elusiveness, getting around the outside.
18-yard pickup. By far the biggest play here of the second half. And now Rouse in the backfield with Wade. Maine showing pressure off the edge. Wade keeps it himself. Great decision. He's got a first down and more. Still on his feet. Najee good with the tackle, and he's going to have to come out for a play as his helmet came off. 17-yard pickup for the sophomore.
It was a nice job. You mentioned, Eamon, a nice read. Pulls that ball 98. Goes down inside. And that's what you want out of your dual threat quarterback. He doesn't do a ton of zone read, but that's part of the offensive philosophy here so far. Got to be proficient at it when it comes. Nice play.
1st and 10 from the Maine 21. I formation for the Eagles. Rouse spins off his man and gets in. Tyler Rouse with the touchdown run, 21 yards. And we mentioned fatigue for the Black Bears, starting to miss some tackles, and Rouse too much to handle and broke a couple.
When Harris Williams, the right guard, he pulls, but he winds up falling down. So this was all Rouse after this, making some guys miss, spinning off and getting into the end zone. And you mentioned it looks like maybe it's this defensive front for Maine starting to wear down. They don't have the depth. They can't rotate guys in and out the way they want.
Bates had a shot. He's been all around the field all afternoon, Trevor Bates. But he could not bring down Tyler Rouse. And now Alex Howell on for the point after, and it's good. So BC starts off the fourth quarter with a bang and a couple of big plays. Smith got things going with the end around, but then it was Rouse to the house. BC up by 14. Welcome back to BC. The Eagles able to tack on another touchdown thanks to some big plays out of the running game.
Absolutely, it was a nice job, and you saw Harris Williams, he pulls, and then, but it was really all house, spinning off, making some guys miss. Good job of coming back to the inside where there really wasn't any daylight at the beginning. Pops it in the end zone for the touchdown.
Here's Malone from the 2. Looking for an alley, gets across the 20, still on his feet out to the 28. Now, it has been a rough day at the office for Dan Collins, trying to get some time to find open receivers.
It really is. Outside the first drive, it's been tough for Dan Collins. Boston College has been after him all day. A lot of big-time cats on that defensive line for Boston College, and they sure made him feel it. Come in very, very much heralded. And we talked about this is an offense last year in Maine that was held at 12 points or less 6 times last year, and facing a team like Boston College in the first game isn't going to be tough to help that out.
Trips to the right. DC showing pressure off the edge with Milano. And here he comes. Gets by the block, but they drop it off quickly for the completion to John Hardy.
Boston College with 4 sacks on the day, and countless times they've pressured Collins into some bad decisions. Hasn't thrown many interceptions, which is a good sign when you're facing that kind of pressure. But nevertheless, it's hard to get this offense going.
5-yard pickup, trips to the left on 2nd and 5. Gonsalve in the backfield. They try the ground game, squirts through, close to a first down. Looks like he gets it. Connor Strahan with the tackle. And now Maine gets the first down.
Early on, you saw Maine attacking the perimeter, the outside parts of the field. I haven't really seen that quite as much. I'd like to see them go back to that, try to get some of these guys, Boston College defenders, out in space, maybe make a guy miss.
Quarterback keeper. He's able to turn the corner for a couple. Gets out of bounds.
Watch 45, Mehdi Abdesmad just push the left guard back into the lap of Dan Collins as he goes on the quarterback keep here. Just forcing to bubble that ball out just a little bit. That was enough to make it a short game.
Under 12 and a half to go in regulation. Trips to the left. DC showing pressure up the middle. Quick release off the mark. Looking for Justin Flores. So now it'll be 3rd and long for the Black Bears.
And I know these coaches for Maine were excited about the receiving corps. I thought they had a lot of potential. Micah Wright, Jordan Dunn, John Hardy, these guys haven't really seen much out of them.
Maine just 2 for 9 on 3rd down conversions this afternoon against the Eagle defense. Here comes pressure. Collins on the rollout, gets rid of it. This could be picked, and there it is, the tip drill. And intercepted for Boston College. William Harris, the freshman.
It was a great job by the cornerback, Gabriel McClary, as he's rolling out. He finds the wide receiver, and just the last second, he tips it up in the air. It was his partner to pick it up for the interception, the first turnover forced by Boston College today.
And now the Eagles are in position to deliver that knockout punch. Up 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter, under 12 to play in Maine territory. They send out Hillman. This is when you try to exert your will, I would imagine, with the offensive line. And of course, it's a play fake. Looking for it all. Oh, Alston can't bring it in. Good throw by Wade. Razai Nelson in coverage. But that probably should have been caught.
Should have been caught. You mentioned Eamon. Darius Wade puts this ball on the money. I've been impressed today. He's had some pretty nice throws. His accuracy's been good. That's one Alston's got to come up with.
Rouse in the backfield with Wade. He gets it to the right. Heads up field, breaks through at the 30, the 20, the 10. Touchdown, Tyler Rouse. 45 yards.
And Eamon, when you have an athletic center, it allows you to do different things you don't see a lot of times, and that's to pull your center. I want you to watch number 50. The center pulls to the outs. He's the guy that springs this play. Nice cut block. Springs the run for the touchdown.
And the kick is good. 24-3. Well, it took a while, but all of a sudden, here in the fourth quarter, the running game is clicking for Tyler Rouse and the BC Eagles. His second touchdown of the ball game, 45 yards. The Eagles are up by 3 touchdowns. Rouse's last 2 runs, 66 yards, 2 touchdowns, and Rocky Boyman, it helps to get some big blocks on the perimeter.
Again, center pulling is not something you see very often, but you're going to see Frank Taylor, the center, pull around and does a nice job of taking out the linebacker, Zachary Hume, knocks him on the ground, and then that springs the play. Excellent job getting to the perimeter. You have to be athletic to do that. You don't see a lot of times centers pulling out to the perimeter that far. Excellent job. That's going to make Adazio happy tomorrow, Eamon.
Najee good from the 2. Right at the 18 and drop there. Milano with the tackle. Take a look at our stats, and you can tell that the running game's starting to come to life. Has come to life for BC, while Maine's still looking for its running game.
Yeah, they're starting to creep around that 200-yard mark that they've done. Adazio, in 4 years as a head coach, 2 at Temple and 2 here at Boston College, has never averaged less than 200 rush yards per game. Finally getting clicking a little bit, and that's going to make them happy tomorrow.
It really got started with those jet sweeps to the wide receiver Thad Smith, and then Wade on the zone read. It was the perimeter running attack that got it going. So now Collins has had a rough day in the pocket all afternoon, and you figure that Maine's going to still have to keep throwing here, now down by 21. And again, pressure, but he gets it off to right, who gets a block. Goes out of bounds. Forced out of bounds by Mike Strezak. And a good pickup on first down for Wright and the Black Bears. 6-yard pickup. Trips to the right now. Gonsov in the backfield. Off to the left, changes directions. Picked by a horde of BC defenders after a 3-yard gain.
You just feel for Maine. They're missing some playmaking. I know they're excited about the wide receivers. Haven't really seen much of it. Obviously, you're not having Nigel Becker back there. It was a big-time blow to the production of this offense.
That tackle made by Zach Allen, the true freshman out of New Canaan, Connecticut. So he'll get some early playing time in his career. He originally, everyone thought was going to go out to Northwestern, then he changed his mind. Now Collins on the rollout. High throw caught by Asuma, but you talked about Steve Adazio being a New England guy and knowing this part of the country. Those are the recruits he's getting. A kid out of New Canaan, Connecticut. He knows the high school coach there well from all his years being a high school coach in Connecticut and New England. And those are the kind of kids that he wants to create that pipeline here.
Well, you're right. There's a wealth of talent up here in the Northeast. Talk about Don Bosco. That's a famous high school up here, and he wants to be able to. Those are his recruits. You know, obviously, there are a lot of ACC teams vying for those high school players in the Northeast. He wants it to be a deal where, hey, the main guys, the top players, are coming here to Boston College.
1st and 10 for the Black Bears. Here comes pressure up the middle. They run right into it. Gonsav able to squeak through for a short gain. 2-yard pickup. Evan Kelly with the tackle. Truman Goodapple in on the play as well. Another one of those.
And he's one of those,
daddies.
yeah, he's one of those guys, you know, you don't call his name a lot, but you see the pressure up the middle. You see him making the lives of those linebackers easy where they can run around and make tackles. I know Stephen Daniels out there appreciates Truman Goodapple and Connor Wojak.
Second and 8. Under 9 minutes to play. They keep it on the ground, and again, another tackle by Kelly. Now, Rocky, you talk about that, you know, taking up blockers and allowing the linebackers to roam free. What was it like early in your NFL career at the Tennessee Titans? Tell us about your experience as a linebacker.
Well, my first couple years in Tennessee, here was my defensive line. Javon Curse on one side, Henry Ford, Albert Hainsworth, and then ESPN's Kevin Carter on the left defensive end. When Kevin Carter was to your side, you didn't have much to worry about. You just ran around and made tackles. If I could have had that all 8 years of my career, I'd probably still be playing.
What do you mean they're allowed to block linebackers in the NFL, Rocky thought?
Not with those guys up front, they can.
3rd and 6 here for Maine. Looking for something on the offensive end. Nothing doing. What a hit, and the ball is loose. Harold Landry got to him. Maine able to recover it, but Collins is down.
He's hurt, Eamon.
There's an offensive lineman, it looks like.
And watch the get off of Harold Landry off the side. The blind side of the quarterback doesn't see him coming. We talked about the explosiveness of Harold Landry. Freshman last year has done a great job in the offseason building his body up and making even more explosive plays here this year.
We're going to take a break and step aside. BC up by 21. Dan Collins able to run off on his own power, but Rocky, you certainly can wonder why the trainers are taking an extra careful look at him.
And on the right side of your screen, you'll see Harold Landry beats both Isaiah Brooks, the right tackle, and Gonsalves, the running back. And then John Johnson, the safety, comes in and creates the pancake situation. And as you mentioned, you saw Collins on the sideline. Looked like they're doing concussion protocol kind of things. Remember, he missed the last 5 games of the year last year with a shoulder injury. That was a pretty devastating hit he took. I wonder if we'll see him.
I was going to say, you wonder if we'll see Drew Belcher after all. Changing the punting situation for Maine. James DiMartini on to punt for the Black Bears, and that's another wobbler. But Alston says Peter and get away. And now, oh, geez, what a dangerous play. Did he touch it? No ruling. Let's see. They say it's BC ball. So I guess they're saying he never touched the ball. But that could have been a disaster. I'm surprised Alston, albeit a young player, got that close to a bouncing ball.
First look, it looked like he did not touch that ball. But this is why special teams coordinators get so nervous when these guys don't get away from the ball. Because you're so tempted. That's right there. I want to grab that thing, and then disaster can happen.
5-hole. Looks like he whiffs.
Went right through the wickets. He's very lucky to not touch that ball.
Let's see, ground ball through the legs. That sounds familiar here in Boston. Actually, it was in Queens,
Nice,
but a long time ago.
Work.
But Outlaw with the short gain. Outlaw. What are you trained to do, Rocky, in this situation as a punt returner when the ball hits the turf?
Trained to get away from the ball, go out of bounds if you have to. There's no reason. If you're not going to catch that ball, there's obviously white jerseys in your face. Why even stand around it? Just get out of the way, take the punt, take the, you know, even if it rolls back a little bit, just don't make a bad situation worse.
You might have to ditch that towel. I don't know. Oh, movement on the line. That towel looks like the only thing that came close to touching the ball.
Did you make a Bill Buckner reference?
You did.
I'll tell you what.
Wow, you're on your A game today,
best
Rocky.
in the business for nothing, man.
Picked up on that one. There goes my escort to the airport. Police aren't going to help me out here in New England, Rocky.
You reminded them.
Yes, little roller. Up along first. Just when I thought I was having a splendid afternoon here in New England, Rocky had to go ahead and make me public enemy number 1.
Calling you out. That's my job.
2nd and 12 now after the penalty. Passing formation here for Wade with under 7 to play. He's going to keep it himself. Stiff arms the first tackler, spins away from the second. But then Darius make that Jean point du jour. Able to run him down. Dozier with the tackle. Jean point Dozier.
You see Harold Landry, the right guard, pulling around. Does a nice job sealing everybody off. 2 guys. Darius Wade with a stiff arm picks up a few extra yards. We talked about Harris Williams. They call him Grandpa. He's been around here for a long time. It's one of those things where he missed last year, and okay, man, this is devastating. But now that he's back, at least this line has some level of experience out there.
8 of 15 on 3rd down. Shovel pass again. Outlaw with the grab and the first down. Heads upfield, breaks a bunch of tackles and gets near the 50. Again, we mentioned the fatigue of the Black Bears settling in here. They are not making the original tackle.
And a nice job by Wade selling that. You see Maine's defenders coming forward, and Outlaw saying, give me the ball, give me the ball. He finally gets it, makes a few guys miss. A nice play.
22-yard pickup. There's a missed tackle. He runs right through. So now 1st and 10 from the 50. Clock is moving with 5:45 to play in the ball game. Go to the I formation. This is Outlaw. Right up the gut for 5. Knowing Steve Adazio as well as you do, we met with him yesterday. He was anxious, didn't really know what to expect from this offensive line. How does he grade the film, knowing the inexperience level of this group?
Well, I think that you got to factor that in. This isn't an inexperienced line. If there were a bunch of veterans and they had this performance out here today, Eamon, you'd be a little bit worried. But I thought they showed progression throughout the game. Came out of the second half, looked like they made some corrections and started moving some bodies off the ball. And that's what Steve Adazio wants.
Maine jumps, so this could give BC a first down.
Offside. Defense, number 92, 5-yard penalty, 2nd down.
And even 5 minutes left to play in the ball game here after Darius Green jumps. Maine just wore down there on the defensive end. They knew that would be a possibility. Kept the running game in check until the 4th quarter when BC started to force the perimeter. Now Rouse. It's hit behind the line of scrimmage and dropped. But let's go back to that offensive line because, okay, you can get by Maine learning on the fly. Next week against Howard, you can make more adjustments. But baptism by fire in the 3rd game of the season against Florida State.
No question. It's good. This performance is going to cut it today and maybe even next week versus Howard, but there's got to be some progression. As you mentioned, when Florida State comes in here, they're not going to wear down. They're going to rotate fresh bodies in there, some more athletic, some more dynamic players. And if they don't get some things fixed and keep improving, it's going to be a long night for them.
2nd and 11, empty backfield. Maine showing pressure off the edge. Here it comes. And the catch dropped. I wonder if the blitz forced a off-the-mark throw because he threw it right at the blitzer. But take a look at Boston College's schedule. And the first goal is always bowl eligible. They've done that in 2 years under Steve Adazio. And you wonder, you get the feeling maybe if they have to take a step backward to take that big step forward in the ACC and beyond. But certainly that one jumps out at you on ESPN on Friday night.
That does. And also that game at Duke. I mean, David Cutcliffe has put quite a program together down there at Duke. They seem to be getting better every year. That's going to be a tough game there going there. playing at Duke.
And of course, the ball game against Notre Dame at Fenway Park, and there's a big hit and a sack. Randy Samuels breaks through. So that'll force a punt. 8-yard loss.
He came right up the gut. We've called Randy Samuels' name a lot. I mean, that was a whiff by the offensive line. Baker did not get across. The Samuels hit it with such speed. Randy Samuels from the Bronx. He's made some plays today. There's some scouts in the. We saw Reggie McKenzie of the Raiders. Talked to Joe Vitt before the game. He liked a lot of these players on Maine as well. Samuels maybe added to the list.
Now on the punt. Flores back to receive. Short but very high kick. Flores says get away. Takes a BC bounce. Down it at the 1. So perfect bounce and even better coverage. A 48-yard punt. No return. Maine takes over on its own 1. Who will be the Black Bears quarterback? The Maine Black Bears 3 minutes and 2 seconds away from a 6th straight loss to Boston College. They gave them a tussle for a while, just like last year before BC was able to pull away here in the second half. But a surprising decision that they're sticking with Dan Collins this late in the game, I think.
Yeah, he took a pretty nasty shot. It looked like they were checking him out. The concussion protocol kind of test they were doing. He obviously must have passed it, as Cosgrove is going to put him back out there. But I agree with you. This may be an opportunity with his injury to put Drew Belcher back in there and maybe see if he can be something that can spark this offense.
From their own 1. They run the sneak just to move out a little bit. Again, they're a shotgun team, so this is foreign territory for them.
This is always that area of the field where the defense they're thinking safety, safety. Try to push some pressure, get those big boys going up front. Wojak, Good Apple.
Now they go back to the shotgun here, looks like. Nope, now he goes in under center. Was backing up at first. Gonsalve behind him. Play fake. Here comes pressure. Looking deep, flag on the play. This could be that safety holding in the end zone. We'll see the call. But there is a flag in the end zone. Cameron Moore with good coverage on Micah Wright. There's the holding call. Let's see if it's
holding in the end zone. This will be a safety.
Offense, number 12. That penalty is declined.
So it was outside the end zone. Obviously, must have been early on in the play. BC wants the ball back, so they'll make it 3rd and 9. Collins steps up. Looking deep down the sideline again, has right through his hands. Moore with the coverage. That looked like a catch-all ball for Micah Wright. So now James DiMartini on to punt. From the back of the end zone. Good kick. Drives Alston back to the 45, but he catches it, gets by the first tackle. Hit, still on his feet. Looking to turn the corner. The punter can't bring him down, but he trips him up and gets him out of bounds. So an electric return there by Alston, showing off his ability for 19 yards. All right, Rocky, 2 minutes and a second left to play. Darius Wade, first career start here at BC. What'd you see?
I thought for his first start, it was pretty good. Very accurate, stood in the pocket, strong, just like you want a quarterback to do. Worked outside of it, but obviously also was helped by the running game. It showed that dual threat nature that I think is going to be an advantage for Boston College here this year versus Tyler Murphy, who was much more of just a runner. I thought for a first day, you got to see some of those red zone and third down situations that you need a quarterback to be able to thrive through. Thought he was decent.
And his day is done, and Troy Flutie, the redshirt freshman, the nephew of the Heisman Trophy winner, takes over at quarterback. He's going have to wait one more play. As BC commits a penalty. But the first career start, all those jitters are over for the sophomore out of Delaware. Decent numbers.
Decent numbers, absolutely. I think if you're Darius Wade, you go out of this game with some confidence. You look to build on this. You work through a few things. You can check those off your list and now start working on even more of the finer points of the game.
And they give it up the middle to Outlow. And certainly, when there's a quarterback named Flutie on the BC roster and depth chart, it jumps out at you during the week.
Absolutely. And remember, this job wasn't given to Darius Wade. He had to compete with Troy Flutie and also Jeff Smith in the offseason. Adazio finally just thought that Wade had a better overall grasp of the offense, so he winds up going with Wade. But to your point, when there's a quarterback in red with a last name of Flutie back there, people are going to be on his side.
There's the give to Richard Wilson. Short gain. Wilson, a redshirt freshman out of Detroit. Detroit Country Day, to be exact. So it looks like Maine's not going to take their timeouts in this ball game. We'll end 24-3. We mentioned the Florida State game down the road. How much work does BC have to do to get ready for the Seminoles and forced, of course, get ready for Howard?
Well, knowing Steve Adazio like I do, he's not going to go into this meeting tomorrow and say, hey, guys, we did a pretty good job. He's going to put the pedal to the metal and say, this isn't good enough. You know, we've made some decent strides, but the expectation level here around BC is much higher than this. We have some things to work on.
And that should do it. The fans rise to their feet to applaud their Eagles as they improve to 1-0 on the season. Steve Adazio knows he has a lot of work left to do to get ready for Howard and then Florida State, but he'll take the W.
He'll take the W, but we talked about before the game, a lot of talent on this team. We have to bridge the gap of the experience. Did that a little bit today, not quite as much as Adazio would like, so certainly a nice to have Howard next week to work on it one more time before the Seminoles come in here.
Jack Cosgrove and the Black Bears will get ready for Tulane, another tough one against an FBS team, but BC opened up the 2015 campaign with a victory with a 24-3 win over Maine.
A lot of respect for those two gentlemen right here, Cosgrove and Steve Adazio. And remember, a lot of these Maine players here, they grew up maybe wanting to go to Boston College, didn't get recruited. They fought hard today, had a pretty nice performance, especially defensively, offensively. They still have a lot to work on.
So John Hilleman had a big game. Darius Wade, a rookie no more as he gets his first career start under his belt. So for Rocky Boyman, I'm Eamon McEnany saying so long from Boston College. Our final score, Boston College 24, Maine 3. To watch this entire game on replay as well as other games on our family of ESPN networks, log on to watchespn.com or download the Watch ESPN app. This has been a presentation of ESPN. BC 1-0 for the season. They win it 24-3. So long from New England.